We have three of our three leading special Senate candidates. We've been able to go in reverse alphabetical order, and that takes us to Matt Lieberman. Mr. Lieberman is joining us tonight, I believe. And Matt, are you ready to go? Oh, saw him log in there. We'll see. We'll see. Make sure. There we go.
Yes. Yes.
All right, Matt. Matt, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's a pleasure to have you with us for the only opportunity, unfortunately, I think we're going to get to be in Coweta and to connect with Cowetans directly. Sir, you have 15 minutes. The floor is yours to use as you want. Thank you for coming here.
Well, it's great to be with you, and I wish I could be with you in person. And may the day come soon where that will be possible. I know we're going to get there. Hey, we got a big election coming up. We have tremendous opportunity here in Georgia to flip both of these U.S. Senate seats and really to be the place in the United States that flips the United States Senate blue, which would make a world of difference in so many ways in our lives day in and day out. I am proud to be running. I'm humbled by this opportunity. I ask for your vote and for your support and for your honesty with me here in the campaign, and I hope as your senator as well. Like more and more of us over the last 10, 15, 20 years, I am a Georgian by choice. I moved here 15 years ago. Pretty much the rest of my life, I had lived up in Connecticut, in New Haven, Connecticut. I am a lawyer by training, like Ed, except Ed has actually had a career in law. I loved law school, never really thought I wanted to practice law. And in fact, the first part of my career was in education. I started off running a program in the New Haven, Connecticut public schools called I Have a Dream. And then I taught English at my old high school. And then we came here to Georgia, to Atlanta specifically 15 years ago, and I was hired to be the principal of one of the larger Jewish elementary schools in Georgia, 450 student K through 8 school. So that's what brought us here. And just as the story is for so many people, you know, Georgia was not necessarily on our radar, but a job brought us here, and the quality of life has kept us here. And the metro Atlanta area is great, and the state is a diverse and beautiful place. So, so we have stayed. So that's my background, a lawyer by training. First half of my career in education, second half of my career after, around 10 years ago, I started a small business in the insurance world, helping to put together group insurance plans, group benefits plans for medium-sized employers. So I have a good sense of that issue, which is obviously so important. And the other thing that's been the focus of my life really most of the last 20 years is I've been the primary or solo parent for my two daughters, who are now 23 and 21, and beautiful and great and doing great things. So I am not a professional politician, but as you all are probably aware, I grew up in politics. My dad's Joe Lieberman, who was the Democratic vice presidential candidate in 2000, senator from Connecticut. And I know I would be able to hit the ground running for the people of Georgia. And I know what the sort of various potential pratfalls are of life in the Senate. It's very easy to get distracted, shall we say. There are a lot of good intentions that don't make it all the way from your home state to the Capitol. And I would be focused from day one on working for you. I'm running as a fed-up citizen of Georgia and for the fed-up citizens of Georgia, which I think is most of us. Our government is a mess. You didn't even have to see that ridiculous debate with Trump. You know, being Trump, you couldn't be that surprised to know that. It's a mess. And I'd say it's broken in at least three ways I want to talk about. First, here in Georgia, and really specific to Georgia, we have this unusual and let's make it end situation here where we are not represented in the most basic way. We're not represented by our United States senators. Kelly Loeffler is out of step and out of sync with what we care about on most of the important issues that we all think about. Doug Collins is way out of step. David Perdue is way out of step. It's like a dysfunction of democracy. Now look, these folks are there because, as we all know, Georgia has been steadily moving in a democratic direction. It's almost like they're relics from a conservative time, a more Republican time in our state's history, and we're trapped under them. There's no reason for that, and we can change it. Look, it's not just me and you. It's not just the activists. It's not just people who are dyed-in-the-wool Democrats who the Republicans are out of step with. It's a big majority of our fellow Georgians. You know, it's not just us here. It's all of us who want universal quality health care. We don't want senators who want to legislate or litigate Obamacare out of existence. Voting rights. Can you believe we're still talking about voting rights in 2020? Well, you know what? Most Georgians can't believe it. It's just this Georgia GOP that's out of step. We got to get rid of them. A woman's right to choose. Georgia wants Roe v. Wade to remain the law of the land, and I'll vote to codify it in anticipation of one of your questions coming up if I'm your United States Senator. That is taken care of. Let's deal with other big issues we have to deal with. Climate change is real. We need senators who admit that it's a problem, admit that we have something to do with it, and are ready to fix it. Education, on and on and on and on. These folks are out of step with us. It's like a dysfunction of democracy. And what's the solution? Vote them out and vote one of us in. And I believe I have the best chance to defeat either Doug Collins or Kelly Loeffler one-on-one in January. So that's one problem we have, and that's one solution. Second problem, our government's broken in Washington. You know, many of you may remember from your high school history classes, Harry Truman in 1948 ran for re-election, running against what he called the Do-Nothing Congress. That was a criticism. Now you have Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, who actually brags about doing nothing. How can that be a point of pride? Doing nothing, basically just taking taxpayer money, putting it in your pocket as a salary and just running out the clock. It's unacceptable. And we have to do better. And the most basic way to get our government active for us again is to flip the Senate. It's the same solution. And we have such a hand in bringing that to fruition here in Georgia. We've just got to seize this opportunity to flip the Senate. A third way I feel the government is broken is that, look, in this race, there are 4 top candidates. 3 of them, Reverend Warnock, Kelly Loeffler, Doug Collins, really were placed in their position as top candidates by 1 or 2 people in Washington or Atlanta. Now, good for them, all right? But the only problem is that what that means is that whatever they say, they know why they are in the position they're in. And if they are elected, they will be beholden to folks other than us. If I'm elected, if Ed Tarver's elected, if one of the other 8 Democrats is elected, we will be beholden to you and only to you. That is who we will work for 100% of the time. There will not be any question about it, and we deserve that. We deserve that, you deserve that. And that's my promise to you. The last thing I will say is this is an extraordinary time, and we need extraordinary politics. We need people with the courage to find the common ground, with the courage to compromise. It's not an exciting notion, compromise. It doesn't make the hair on your arm stand up. But the fact is, what's the point if nothing gets done? And that's where we are in Washington now. Not only is compromise hard, but people in each party are afraid to compromise because they're afraid they'll get primaried next time around by someone who can just tweet up a primary at them. We need a leader, and I will be that leader who has the courage to find the common ground, to reach my arm across the aisle and find people we can work with to get things done. We need adults in the room who will lead like that. And our challenges are huge, and that's all the more reason why we need it. There's an opportunity gap in this country, and this is the last thing I'll say. The fact is, if you are white and upper middle class or higher, it's hard to fail in America today. However, if you're black or anything else, not white, or white and middle class or lower, it's hard to make it. And it hasn't been like that in our country in any of our memory. This is the land of opportunity. This is the land that gave the name, obviously, to the American dream. We have to realize that there are blockages in our biggest systems, education, the economy, healthcare, justice, that we need to address to allow everyone to participate fully in the promise of our society. It is like a cancer on America for people to be blocked out of taking those first steps up the ladder of the American dream. And I will support policies that enable people to get going on their own particular American journeys. So I'm happy to be here with you. We can win. I know I can win. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Matt, again, thank you so much for coming and sharing your vision with us tonight and sharing your campaign with us tonight. As promised, the first question, the third quarter just closed for financial reporting today. The reports won't be out until after early voting starts. Can you give us a preview, an idea of how you did this quarter, what we're looking at, and how your resources are going forward, not just into November, but also into a potential runoff in January?
Yeah, so I mean, we probably raised around the same we did the last quarter, something over $250,000. Not a lot. It's a challenge. Like Ed said, he and I and others were sort of going against a headwind, raising money. But we have, through really excellent polling and data analytics, very specifically identified who my most persuadable voters are, and we're going right at them. We're advertising, we're on the air now digitally in an intense way at our target voters, and we'll continue to do that, and hopefully over the final 5 weeks we'll do even more of it. But as far as what happens after November, the truth is that's not the financial challenge. Whichever of us, whether it's Reverend Warnock, me, whoever else, emerges into the final two going to January, that candidate, like John Ossoff 3 years ago in the 6th Congressional District, will have more money than he or she could ever need, because it'll be the only race going in the country. Every Democrat in the country will toss in $10. So that's not a concern. Look, the challenge for my campaign, obviously, is getting into the top two. So we feel we can do it. Not easy, but we feel we have a path that we've identified, and we're pursuing it aggressively.
Thank you for that answer and for your honesty. Second question, you mentioned Roe v. Wade and being a supporter of it. With the likely confirmation of Justice Barnett, we're going to have at least 4 people who have expressed outward negativity towards Roe v. Wade and keeping that on the books. Even if we pass a law codifying it, like you said, what steps are you going to take, or how are we going to make sure that it's not merely just overturned immediately by the Supreme Court?
Well, I don't believe there is any question that the Congress could pass a law of that sort to codify Roe v. Wade. Even if Roe v. Wade, God forbid, were overturned now, it would just mean that each state would have its own law, would be free to have its own law within certain parameters. And that would be very bad news for Georgia, obviously, because we have this crazy 6-week abortion law that was overturned based on Roe v. Wade. But the federal government, if we pass a federal law, it's my understanding that that's the law of the land, unless, and given the combative era we're in, I'm sure arguments would be made that Congress went beyond its authority to pass a law like that. But we have, in certain instances, we have federal laws related to health issues. The federal government can pass laws that affect things like this that are of national application. So that is a way to take it out of the Supreme Court's jurisdiction, in effect. And so that's why if you remember from the debates, so many or all of the Democratic presidential candidates also said they would support codifying Roe v. Wade. so it becomes federal law and not subject to the Supreme Court knocking it down and saying that the Constitution doesn't cover it. It'll now be a case of indisputable federal law.
Thank you, Matt, for that answer. We've got about 30 seconds. Can you plug that website for us one more time so people know where to go to donate or volunteer?
Yes, Liebermanforsenate.com, F-O-R, not the number. Liebermanforsenate.com. Go there. I could use your help. We're headed into the fourth quarter of this campaign. I'm confident we're going to emerge with a strong candidate, and I'm confident that candidate will do well in January, and I feel I'm in the best position to win this for us in January. And it's great to be with you virtually, and again, I look forward to being able to be with you in person.
Matt, thank you so much for coming and being here with us tonight. Hopefully we do get a chance to see you again virtually. This has been a great opportunity for the people of Coweta to interact, to meet, and to hear from those Senate candidates in that important special election.